Emma.
What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in to CHGO Bulls live from Media Day here at the Advocate Center. I'm Pack Bulls _Pack, joined by my crew, Big Day, BWL Sports, Will, the Go Gottlieb, perfectly coiffed for Media Day, Will _Gottlieb, and the newest member of our crew, three-time Chicago Bulls NBA champion, four-time NBA champion overall. He's got that extra fourth in there.
You do.
Longtime Bulls analyst, the one and only Uncle Will Perdue.
I'm the third, though.
You're the third?
That's my official name.
The third? That's your official?
Yeah, I'm the third.
Okay.
William, what's your middle name?
Edward.
William Edward Perdue the third. We also got
some grape Yopon.
our producer Law on the draw rocking with us. Our wonderful social media coordinator Emma here as well, having fun here at Media Day, getting all those great pics and vids you saw coming out from our team account. Guys, another Bulls Media Day in the books. We heard from AK, we heard from Billy, we heard from a number of these players, some newcomers, some returning. We're going to break it all down.
Yeah.
Big Dave, biggest takeaway for you. What was that moment for you today?
Just walking in and people actually knowing who I was.
Hey.
Talking to the bigs was probably the biggest moment.
Shout out to bigs.
Just talking to all of them and the stuff my man Terrence Tomlin said to me, kind of hit me in my heart a little bit. The things he said to me kind of hit me a little deeply. And yeah, it was just great, man. But I love coming to these things, man. I'm always 6 years old when I walk in here because I am a fan of the Chicago Bulls, man.
They don't like you to use that word in here, Dave.
Yeah. I love them. I know. I love them dearly, man.
It's like the first day of school.
Yeah.
I was like getting ready to come out here this morning. I was like, oh my God, today's the day. Here we go. Starting of six straight months, 7 straight months of just a ton of work, a ton of nights, all this stuff. And then I got here and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do it.
Energized when you walked around.
Energized.
Everybody did seem to have that energy of like, hey, good to see old pals. Yeah.
The most energy I felt was, I believe Kobe White was on the podium.
Man.
And I heard from off to my right, Will Perdue, CHGO. That's got a nice ring to it.
I am glad that you also caught that because I heard those words and I was like, oh, dip.
Yeah,
that's a real
I was
thing.
Like, wait, am I talking over there?
Right. Me and Lawrence looked at each other like, is that Will Perdue talking to us?
Did that throw you, Mr. Perdue, having been to umpteen Bulls Media Days over the course of your Bulls playing and broadcasting career? I was a little bit surprised how quickly and effortlessly our call letters came out of your mouth after you introduced yourself.
I had to write it on my hand.
It's right next to his grocery list.
Yeah.
He's got CHGO right there.
No, that's right next to my honeydew list.
I mean, we can bounce around, but because we brought it up, Purdue asked a great question to Kobe about the NBA game kind of slowing down for him a bit last year. Will, what did you make of his answer to your question about the game slowing down for Kobe? What's up, Benny?
What's up, man? What's up, boy? Look at him, just the coolest human right there, man. Oh, he knows him. Oh, the qual.
He stepped on me one time last year on press row, and so he knows.
On purpose?
He knows he had to come say hi.
Well, he sold it as accident, but you can better damn well believe it was on purpose.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not bad at you, man.
Good to see you, Benny.
Always good, man. Always good
Benny,
to see you.
Don't work too hard, okay?
Oh, okay.
That's for Dave?
All right. I have no idea. I don't even know where this came from off him, but all right. And we taking it back.
As long as he doesn't throw popcorn all over us, then we're happy.
Wow.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That for who?
For us.
Okay.
I'm pretty hungry. I haven't had anything to eat yet.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay. Oh, it was that. Oh, the Dennis Rodman when he has that up on his head. Very nice, man. Very nice. You large. You large, sir.
All right, so back to your question.
Yeah, before we were hijacked by that domestic terrorist over there.
The biggest thing I took away from that was accountability.
Yeah.
Because and then I got a chance to talk to Kobe after he finished his, interview session. We've talked about, listen, this year and probably next are going to be some tough times. So you got to try to kind of figure out, okay, where's the positives? What are some things that we can really look forward to? And the growth of Kobe White's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always felt like since Kobe's been here, I've always seen the growth, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally, right? Because it was Darnell asked him a question about, you put together that mini camp in Miami, and he's like, oh, man, I never thought that, being in my, what is this 6th year?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In my 6th year, we're talking about leadership. Well, that tells you to a certain extent there are veteran players, but as a whole, the core of this future, unless something dramatically changes, is still pretty young. They're experienced, but young.
Yeah.
That's the party line: experienced but young.
But at the same time, though, you're exactly right. But let's be very clear here. They now have guys that came in young. Okay? Because Kobe said what? He's only 24 and he's already been here 5 years.
Yeah.
But now they have enough games under their belt that they, and Billy talked about this, they know what to expect.
Yeah.
They know how to handle the rigors of 82 games, but they also understand what's expected of them. Okay? And now I asked Kobe about what does he have to do, to now get to that next level. Because it's not just about, hey, let me go get up more shots. Let me, it's more about now, because as he said, he's seeing, in my opinion, the light at the end of the tunnel. He's starting to now, as he's bringing the ball down the floor at a pretty rapid pace, of seeing where Zach should be and where Giddey should be and where, Io should be, and trying to, doing three things at one time, right? And to where that not only makes things more successful for him, but makes things more successful for this team. Listen, this team's got a lot of work to do. But I fully believe, just from a personnel standpoint, this team's a lot more talented than people are giving them credit for. That's why, in my opinion as well, there's a lot of pressure on Billy to figure out how to put these pieces together. Yeah. It's I know this is me exposing my age. I'm sure you guys come up with another thing, but this is a huge game of Tetris for Billy.
Oh, I mean, everyone loves Tetris, regardless of your age.
Trying to drop those things in there to clear the board, right? About how to do this. But that being said, I think we know what the goal of this season is, not of this team, but of this season.
Well, AK said it, and I'm paraphrasing. The goal of this season is to figure out what this team's identity is. Right. Which does not sound like playoffs. It does not sound like being competitive. It does not sound like winning every game. It sounds like we need to figure out who we are as a team and go from there. And the other thing, that I did hear AK mention today that I thought was interesting, because he said something similar earlier this offseason after the DeMar and the Caruso moves. Like, we are a team that is going through changes. We are not finished changing. He made sure to say that again today.
Yeah, and that was kind of the message that we've heard from him, like you said, all summer. This is a process. And look, I mean, they still have Zach LaVine on the roster. They still have Vooch on the roster. These guys are obviously very good players. They're going to help them this year. But I think if you were to give them some truth serum, they would say, like, and they kind of did say it. They're building a younger team with experience. Those guys just inherently don't fit into that. So honestly, nothing against them. I think they're great players. And like, I want to spend some time talking about Zach, because I thought what he had to say was just really,
but can I correct
really
something here for a minute?
But just one last thing. My point and my big takeaway from this is Arturas' quote: "We're here to win. Developing our young players is crucial, but we won't have to sacrifice the integrity of the game just for the sake of development." And so I think that is somebody else kind of asked it, but those to me are two kind of fundamentally conflicting ideas. And so I wonder how you can do both of those at the same time, if you can, or is one going to get sacrificed for the other, and which is it? So, they said multiple times, we are going to see how it goes in training camp. We're going to take it day by day. Like, they're kind of alluding to all the right stuff, but then they still come back to this major point of, we are not going to sacrifice the integrity of the game for the sake of development. And I'm very curious to see how those two opposing forces work out.
I mean, I agree with that. But to your point, I'll continue to beat on this drum, right? Everybody's like, oh, that's what you want to stand up on. If Vooch is used correctly, he can be very helpful and beneficial to this team, regardless if it's going younger, older, whatever it is, because I think what people are missing out on, and unfortunately for him, and I talked to him about this today.
Flex.
I said, it's unfortunate for you, and I know you probably don't care, but you actually will care about this 10 years from now, 15 years from now, how for somehow you've become the scapegoat of everything that's kind of happened. A lot of people have hated on you because of, this, that, or the other. But he can run up and down the floor.
Sure.
He's faster than people think. It's just not how the Bulls have played in the past. And he's not going to be dead weight when they try to play high speed. I think that, to me, that actually makes him even more efficient. It makes him a better option than what they've used in the past. So there are a lot of positives going into the season about how do they use Vooch. We've already talked about Kobe. How does this? How do you put these pieces together? But as you just pointed out, how do they do this and not lose the integrity of the game, but yet still put them in a position to not be the 10th, 11th, or 12th pick in the draft?
What do you make of that, Big Dave?
That is going to be difficult. That's going to be tough. I mean, this team, it's so interesting because we can look at a world where we see them as a team that can win 25, 28 games, but you can also see a world where they can win over 30 games as well. They have the talent, like you said. I thought the Tetris analogy was perfect. They have the talent to do that, and I don't envy Billy Donovan's job at all this season. He has a lot of decisions to make because it's a lot of talent that needs to play, veterans and young guys, because you got to see what you got on your team. And as a coach, you're supposed to put the best product out on the floor to allow your team to win. So he has to find that kind of line, and that's going to be very difficult. On top of that, I got to figure out if Lonzo Ball is okay, because that can become an asset to you as well, whether you're in the market to trade him or not. That can become an asset for you. I think you're absolutely dead on correct about Vooch. Vooch being in this kind of offense works perfectly. I immediately see him getting the rebound and starting the break immediately, and him bringing up the rear and being that trailer. And Matt used to talk about it often, about Vooch hitting the guy coming up in the rear, hitting that trailer three or taking that trailer three-point shot. Now you got a guy who can either do that or just continue to keep going to the bucket if they're going to be a three-point shooting team, which it sounds like that they want to be. You got a guy who can get those rebounds and continue to wreak havoc down there. Also, he can be helpful as far as passing is concerned, because Vooch is always, for me, not talked about enough how good his passing really is, especially in the half court if you're running it from the free throw line extended or something like that. So I think Vooch has that opportunity to obviously show so much more of his game because of who was here previously. Not to say DeMar was bad or hindering him. You just have to adapt to who your best player is. But now it's more free-flowing. Vooch is more of a free-flowing kind of player, and I think we'll be seeing that. Will is correct.
And I think he's a good trail big. Like, he can get the rebound, kick the ball ahead, and then, get up to the top of the key and either shoot a three when it gets reversed back out to him or keep the ball moving. Those are his best skills.
Yeah.
So I think he actually can fit in really well. And then, I asked him about it. He talked a little bit about, the way that his passing and IQ can help some of the younger players, where we've talked a ton about they need somebody to be able to draw two to the ball and force help. I think, you can say what you want about him, but he still draws two when he's in the post. So I think the Bulls can utilize him in a way that not only, helps the team be a little bit more cohesive right now, but also helps those younger guys get better. There's not as much pressure on them to be the offensive engines. I think that can be really difficult for young players. And so I think having a guy like Vooch around, as maybe as compared to a guy like Zach, who is a little bit more ball dominant from the perimeter, having that counterbalance from the post or from the top of the key in, semi-transition, that helps out some of these other guys get better, get easier shots, and builds their confidence, which is what they're going to need.
And it's so interesting that they now have an offense that I think the majority of their team can actually run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and
it's so interesting.
Speaking of drawing two and Zach LaVine, we got to dive into some of his thoughts today, because I thought a lot of what Zach said was fascinating. That is still ahead, plenty more ahead here as we recap Media Day. We are live from the Advocate Center, CHGO Bulls. For you, our fellow Bulls fans, we'll be right back.
We're really here.
What? What, Dave? Today's show. Wait, should we make Perdue? Should we make Uncle Perdue?
Oh, read an ad?
Read some ads. You want to read some ads, Will? Today's show brought to you by Circus Sportsbook. Whether it's pro or college, football is back, y'all. And the app to bet football is Circa Sports Illinois.
If I'm headed out to Vegas, I'll read that.
Next summer, Will. Next summer, you're coming with us.
Yes.
Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low hold, and exceptional customer service. You can bet on all of your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports has it for you. We got another two-fer in Monday Night Football tonight.
2 games tonight.
I love these 2-game Monday Nighters.
Yes.
So great. It's a little hug to start the week. It's like, you made it through Monday. Here's 2 football games for you. Fun and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. Must be 21 and older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Oh, Matt is chilling right now.
I'm chilling.
But I can tell you what, after this is over, he is truly going to embrace chill.
Oh, you know it.
Oh, he's going
Had to sneak my Coors Light in the water bottle. Just kidding. It's water.
No, frosty cold Coors Light is what he's going to crack open as soon as he gets out of here, guys.
As soon.
Between work, social media, and the choice of life throws our way, it's no wonder we're more worked up. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn that rained out barbecue into the formerly Will to Go Gottlieb karaoke house party, but now the Will Perdue karaoke house party.
Oh, Purdue's hosting.
Yeah, his house is better.
That's when karaoke comes out, that's a party of one.
See or after a tough loss, settle scores with the ice cold peace offering. Make the choice to choose chill, then reach for a cold Coors Light. It's that mountain cold refreshment, because when those mountains turn blue, oh yes, you know what to do. It's cold lager, cold filter, and cold package for a smoother finish. When you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open the icy cold Coors Light. It's crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Hurricanes. Make the most of those times to choose chill, choose Coors Light. Get it delivered straight to your door via Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Basketball. To CoorsLight.com/CHGO Basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Will, you had the chance to play with Jordan and Pippen. How does it now feel to work with the Jordan and Pippen of advertising?
Nobody gave us any rings.
I just stand in the corner and space the floor. That's all. You don't need to pass it.
No, we pass him the ball. And he's always ready. That's true.
Ready,
he's always like this. He's ready.
I'm just here to space the floor.
I love the creativity and the flair they add.
Thank you, Will.
Hey, man.
To these reads.
Got to keep the people entertained, and you got to sell the products.
2 for 1.
You're not going to sell the products if you make it boring.
Is it legal for us to technically, because this is not on television, this is YouTube? Are we legally allowed to consume the product?
Legally allowed to consume what?
Oh, the of what we're advertising, like Coors Light.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think gets us through the shows there, Will?
What do you think gets? What do you think got me through that 82-game season from last year?
Let me just speak. Yeah, come on, man.
You'll
find out. You'll find out.
I was always chill mindsetting with Coors Light.
Yes, correct.
In the office.
Yeah.
I guess the answer is that how do you guys get through the season? We head to the mountains.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We head to the mountains, Uncle Will. By the way, for those of you listening on the pod, or for those of you who caught it on YouTube, that quick little salute that Big Dave had just a second ago, that was our rookie, Modest Buzelis, recognizing Big Dave from their Summer League rendezvous and pointing out Big Dave, showing him some love. Okay, but so circling back to Zach LaVine, the big name that is still here. I mean, what did you make of the fact that before he started fielding questions, Zach made a statement that didn't necessarily sound like a prepared statement, quote unquote? It sounded like it was coming from the heart, but it sounded like a handful of thoughts that Zach made a point to organize ahead of time to address all of the various rumors and drama that was attached to his name last season and throughout this offseason.
Yeah, it was about 2+ minutes long, so I don't have the whole thing transcribed here, but I mean, I was really impressed with the way that he handled that. And
very much so.
I didn't really think about, I just kind of was like, okay, I wonder if this is going to be awkward. Is this going to be uncomfortable? What's going on here? But when he came out and said, like, let me go first, before anybody asked any questions, and he just said, like, look, I've been gone for a long time. I'm injured. I'm healthy. I'm happy to be here. But most of all, like, I've had a chance to reflect on myself and, this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And, he kind of said, look, there's going to be stuff that you guys, I'm sure, want to ask that I'm not going to be able to answer. There's stuff that, like, I just don't want to talk about. I want to leave in the past. I really respected the way that he handled that. And I thought that was, like, the right message to put across in this kind of situation. I think he used the opportunity well to kind of set the boundaries. And look, the situation is what it is. I don't think anybody needs to say it out loud for us to know what is going on here. Mm-hmm. And so I think the way that he managed that and kind of got his point across to set the expectation for how he's going to be talking about it. He said, look, if there's something that you guys need to hear, it'll come from me directly. It'll come from my representation, or it will come from the team. Like, this is what it is. But for now, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to take on whatever role and it was just the professionalism that we've come to know Zach. But I thought really refreshing. And like I said, really respected the way that he handled that.
Yeah, I loved it. Just watching his body language for me was different this time. Like, the way he was speaking, like you said, Will, it really felt like it was from the heart. Yeah. It was just more personable. Like, he really was just trying to have a conversation and tell you really what he really felt. And I like those moments where it feel like a player is letting you in, you know what I'm saying, to that psyche. Because like he said, he was like, I'm good. Listen, he's like, well, I got a beautiful wife, I got beautiful kids, you know what I mean?
Next
Like
contract
is smooth, you know what I mean? Life is good, you know. But I love playing basketball. And he talked about the many teammates he's had. He talked about the many head coaches that he's had.
Yeah.
And finding
he
his
knew
way
the exact
through that.
number of teammates.
Yes. Was it 125? I think he said.
It was in the hundreds. Yeah.
127. Okay.
Crazy.
And 6 head coaches, I believe he said. Yeah, man. Like just
one of whom we shouldn't count, but that's beside the point.
You got that right. But but it was just great to hear him be that personable, man, and that honest. And I love when players, you know, get to do things like that. So when those questions came up to him about, you know, the future, he's like, look, I can't really answer that for y'all right now. I like how he said, if I had a crystal ball, it'd be a lot of things I would be saying right now. So I loved it. I agree with you, Will, 100%. I thought it was great.
Perdue is somebody who spent time in this league and had to deal with trade rumors and you know, coming into a season with a lot of unanswered questions for a player like the shoes that Zach is sitting in today. What did you make of how he handled himself?
Well, first of all, I liked how he addressed the questions. He didn't run from it. A couple of them, he just said, hey, I'm not really here to talk about the past. I get it. What I really want to see is that, and I wrote this down. I wrote down 3 words, and
I hope one of them isn't continuity.
No.
Okay, good.
I wrote down, because, you know, Billy and Arturas were talking about he's in great shape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's never not been in great shape.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
To me, the 3 things now that I think that he really needs to focus on and excel at and do a better job of is, you know, his basketball IQ. And by no means do I mean that he's a dumb player. I don't want people to jump to any conclusions whatsoever. But like the same issues we talked with Kobe about the game slowing down, taking the next step. Kobe said that it happens different for everybody. And I'm not saying that hasn't happened to Zach either. But Zach's at a point now where he's faced a lot of adversity. Okay. We've never questioned his physical ability.
Never.
Okay. He's a former All-Star. I think he can be an All-Star again if he can stay healthy. But we have to be honest with what's being said here is that he, correct me if I'm wrong, he went from I want to play here to I'm open to the possibility of a trade to it's probably best if, and I'm not sure he said this, but his representation said it's probably best if Zach or my client or however you look at it goes elsewhere, considering the past. All right. Once that genie's out of the bottle, you can't put it back.
Pandora doesn't go back into the box.
So
she only comes out.
What I noticed today is that like he was very stoic when he was talking.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that, and this is going to be the hard part for him. I think that he's accepted the fact, quite honestly, that they are looking to trade him. I hope that, you know, his representation and Arturas and Billy are very open with their communication with him on what it is they're attempting to do as they move forward. I think currently they're all on the same page, or they should be. And how quickly, as basketball players, you love to play the game. You love the competition. But you also realize at this level, though, it's not as fun as people think it is because of the expectations that you're trying to rise up to and exceed. Okay. But even when kind of like you talk about a lame duck coach, lame duck president, lame duck whatever, you know, he's kind of a lame duck player a little bit in the sense that he's kind of out on an island floating by himself. I mean, yeah, he's wearing a Bulls uniform, but is he really part of the future? He doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And that makes it tough for him. So, you know, when I dealt with that, it makes it tough to come to work sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, they're telling me they got my back. I understand what they're saying, but do they really have my back if I really needed to, you know, lean on them for some answers? So it's hard to sit here and say, man, I feel sorry for this guy. But it's unfortunate that he can't just focus on basketball.
Yeah.
And that's going to wear on him eventually.
Definitely.
The longer he's here, the longer that he is emotionally going to have to deal with this, and that's going to make things really difficult for him. And that's the other thing that we don't think about. It's not just going to make this difficult for him with his teammates, but it's going to make things difficult at home as well.
And I think the thing about focusing on basketball and just basketball would be the thing that optimizes the likelihood that we see the former all-star version of Zach that you were just talking about, Perdue. And that, like, when I was talking to Chanowski about this earlier today before things got started.
Thanks.
Shout out to the legend. Like, this team still needs to, they can say whatever they want to say. They need to showcase Zach LaVine as hopefully a player who still has all-star capability in this league so that they can get some, drum up some interest from some teams, ideally, find a trade partner and move on, while also trying to toe this line and, you mentioned that challenge largely will fall on Billy, developing some of these young guys. But, I mean, Zach LaVine, speak of the devil, it's Mark Chanowski.
Hey, it's Mark Chanowski.
Oh.
We know him.
Oh.
We know him.
It's like,
flex.
You say, come on,
his
Will.
ears were
Come on,
burning.
Will.
His ears were burning.
Mark,
Our
baby.
guy.
It's our guy.
The
man.
one and only.
Guys, what a crew we got.
Hey.
Yeah,
Come on,
crew's a
Mark.
good word.
Kind enough to come on our podcast last week.
Yes.
Gotta get you
Windy
guys on
City
here.
Bull, Will
There
Gottlieb.
you
That's
go.
it.
Yeah, still waiting for that call
Yeah.
He's got game.
He's got game, man. He's
Still,
got game.
still waiting for that call back.
They seem to have lost your
Okay.
number.
All right.
Lost the number. They know my email. That's no excuses.
Thank you, Mark.
Good to see you, Mark.
Good to see you, Mark.
I
Take it
love
easy,
how
man.
everyone in this town knows that Go tried out for Windy City. It's the greatest thing ever.
I'm not sure it's the
Mark
reputation
Chanowski.
I really want.
Windy
but-
City broadcaster, by the way.
Hey,
The one and only Chanowski. But like,
Mark Chanowski.
but circling back to Zach, I mean, like, I think you have to get Zach 30 minutes a night. Like, you got to prove that he's healthy. You got to prove that he's capable of being a 20-plus points per game scorer. And how do you do that while also focusing on a new offensive system that is hopefully heavily featuring some of these younger players, Will?
I mean,
could
go
I say
ahead.
something though? And let's not mistake the fact, okay? And I apologize for stepping in.
Not at all.
His teammates know what the goal is.
Yeah.
So if the Bulls come out and run a heavy Zach LaVine offense, his teammates get it. They may not be happy about it, but they get it.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, will not be an issue. It's not going to create a rift. It's not going to create problems.
Yeah.
Because these guys, the player today is heavily involved in social media, and so they know exactly what's going on. Because here's the other thing. Management maybe not be talking about it, but these guys are talking about it at dinner. They're talking about it on the plane, talking about it on the bus. Zach, man, what's the latest, man? What have you heard? What's going on? What are they doing with you, man? It's just, because they want to know too, because it affects them. Because you heard Kobe talk about, Debo's not here, and he talked about how he's AC's not here. But he's talking about those personal relationships, how it just tugs at your heartstrings when these guys are no longer here, and how difficult that makes things for you. So these guys have feelings for Zach. They like Zach.
Sure.
I don't ever question that. This team has a good core as far as good guys that are solid. But at the same time now, this is no longer about who these guys are. It's about what these guys can accomplish together.
Yeah, and I don't think that their plan is to just like feed Zach and make him a 25-point per game guy and then try to flip him. Like, I think they are honest when they're talking about, we want to play faster. We want to recreate our identity around some of our new personnel. Want to get up and down. Want to make life a little bit easier. Want to shoot more threes. Like, that's stuff that he fits really well into. That's like all part of his strength. So I think for me, if I'm another team, what I want to see out of Zach LaVine before I trade for him is like, can you still be a big time scorer, but also do all the other stuff? Can you run out and transition and make spot up threes, come off screens and attack the basket? Or, if you're the Miami Heat, like, can he come off of those dribble handoffs and pull up? Can he defend? Like, those are the things that the Bulls are now asking him to do too. And so I think this is a situation where, and Zach said, like, the reflection, I think that's what he's talking about, where he understands like his role is going to be a little bit different. What the team is asking of him is going to be a little bit different, and who he needs to be a little bit different. And I think he seems to understand that. And look, he's talented enough to where he's going to thrive no matter what situation the Bulls try to put him in.
Sure.
Because he will get touches the faster they play. Like, we've seen that version of Zach before with Lonzo. It looked really good. He was an all-star. So I think he's going to be good. I think, and they are all at a point now where it's like, okay, he's here. Let's figure out a plan. And it seems like they've kind of come to that conclusion.
Can I say something? I know we got to take a break.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
got to
real
take
quick.
this full circle. You just touched on what I mentioned, and I never gave the answer. I said I wrote down 3 things, and I mentioned the first one about IQ. I want to see him get to the next level about how he plays. but we all know he can play defense when he personally makes a decision to lock in.
Mhm.
Yes,
All right.
Yes.
He needs to do that consistently, and also now leadership. And what I mean by leadership, I don't expect him to be leading the huddle and him to be the rah-rah guy. But I'm going to be very transparent here. He's got to be really key because there's 29 teams watching him play every single night.
Mhm.
Okay. When I say leadership, we all know, we watch the games. He used to sometimes get buried in the corner and then he would just stand there and pout.
Mhm.
Can't do that because now other teams want to see, okay, how do you interact with these younger guys? How are you interacting and helping these younger guys get better? But at the same time, you being the player that we all know you can be. Because we have seen already that those teams that consider themselves to be contenders are making moves,
Mhm.
a la New York Knicks,
Yeah.
Minnesota Timberwolves. So
Cool.
there
Did the
are
Knicks
teams.
make a move?
Yeah.
When there are teams that think Zach can help them.
Yeah.
But they want to be able to, when in these first, let's just say 20 games,
Mhm.
they want to see, can Zach check the boxes and we can trust our intuition if we pull the trigger and make this trade.
We got to take one more quick break here. CHGO Bulls still plenty to come. We also heard from Lonzo Ball today. I want to dive a bit more into the vision stuff that AK and Billy were talking about
Josh
out of
Giddey?
the gate. We heard from Josh Giddey. Yeah.
my guy.
So all of that's still ahead. Hit that like button while you're hanging out with us on CHGO Bulls.
You know, our social media person, Emma,
Rockstar.
Rockstar,
Slay.
she does her thing. She slays and she celebrates. She doesn't mind the Coors Light at all. But when she comes up the next day, she feels a little sluggish. And I say, you know what? I know what happened. You didn't have your Z-Biotics. And I understand that. And don't be like Emma on that sense. Be like Emma and everywhere else. But not in that sense, guys. Have your Z-Biotics. Z-Biotics is a pre-alcohol probiotic drink, and it's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists as opposed to just scientists to tackle rough mornings.
Hey, them
after
scientists.
drinking.
This is just regular
That's
scientists.
it.
They
That's just
suck.
regular science. No. The PhD is what we need.
What is this, scientist?
Here's how it works.
Why do I have a feeling that Peck's trying to be a scientist late at night after he's had a few Coors Lights?
Yeah, you got that phone call, Will. Let's go.
I have hobbies, Purdue.
Yeah, things to do. But here's how it works, y'all. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration,
Gut
as
health.
some might think, that's to blame for your rough next day. So the pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break down this byproduct, ladies and gentlemen. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you will feel better tomorrow. All right? And so Emma said, I just heard about this. I'm going to try this. You got that right, she is. You got it right. And with their GMO technology, they will release different products that help address toxic byproducts of modern living in the gut. Go to zbiotics.com/CHGO Bulls to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use that code. Again, CHGO Bulls at checkout. Z-Biotics is back with 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Z-Biotics. Get some.
You know what I
See? Did you do it? Well done. Well done.
you know what I keep my icy cold Coors Lights in, Dave.
Tell me.
My Rugged Road cooler, of
Well,
course.
of course, he's a canoodler.
Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions, even Bulls Media Day. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. And one of their most unique and one of my favorite features, proud Rugged Road cooler owner right here, no lie, is their ability to always float and float upright. Never lose a single drink, never lose a precious sip with those floating upright Rugged Road coolers. They also have an incredibly lightweight design, unlike a lot of those other big name brand heavy duty coolers. Rugged Road coolers are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip without compromising on performance. Perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, fishing, tubing, camping, tailgating,
come on,
canoodling,
canoodling.
These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers, reliable, durable, and built to be used, just like Will Perdue back in the day.
Oh, post up.
Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com. Use promo code CHGO for 10%
Okay.
off.
Mr. Peck, can I ask you a question?
Oh, of course.
Mr.
I
Peck.
love
Mr.
Uncle
Peck.
Will's questions.
So how does
they
the
don't give me anxiety at all.
I understand you talk about how they float,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
But how do they fit on that hardwood floor in your house next to the lazy boy? Because you don't even want to walk to the refrigerator.
Okay, y'all. He's not wrong. I do have
true.
a beer fridge in my living room.
He does. He does.
Tucked neatly underneath both of my TVs in my living room.
I've seen it. Yes.
Flex.
Yeah.
Yes. Come on,
Yes.
Will. Come on,
And
Will.
it's
Come
a
on.
shorter walk from my lazy boy than it is to the kitchen fridge.
Mhm. It's right
these
there.
are the luxuries that any man can have.
So
you can
here-
have these luxuries
So you
yourself.
know, another question just popped into my head.
Oh,
Okay.
what's that?
What would Redacted say if you asked her to go get you a beer?
Redacted is not a fan of my beer fridge in the living room.
It won't be there long.
You guys, we got Chicago Tribune's Julia Poe
Okay.
right here. She wants to.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'll step
no,
out.
no,
Let's
no,
bring
it's a
Julia
writer,
in.
man. I got it.
Let's get her around here. We got so much more to talk about, but
Boom, boom.
let's get some of the other
Let's get some
fine folks.
fresh faces
covering
in
the
here. Rotating Media Day. We are live. Hit that thumbs up button. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Eco Bean, Michael, Keefe, Julia, everybody in the comments. And welcome to this, Julia. Bulls beat reporter for the Chicago Tribune, the one and only Julia Poe. What's up? Good to see you.
How's it going?
Wonderful.
Hey,
Wonderful.
what you guys don't know? Badass cookie maker.
Oh, yeah?
True.
Ooh.
Can
It's true.
confirm.
It's true.
Can confirm.
I did not win that popular vote, though. It's important for people to
Well,
remember
I think
that.
Darnell paid off a few people.
Was there like a Bulls beat cookie baking competition?
Oh, yeah.
So in February, it gets
And,
a lot-
where
it's a
were
long
our
season, guys.
invitations to be the taste testers?
You were in
Listen,
the
we'll do multiple
studio.
rounds this year. Okay.
Okay.
Just put her-
Okay. So, Julia, the thing that we were about to talk about next was, we were making our way through the interviews.
Mhm.
Josh Giddey, the newest Bull who said a lot of interesting things, one of which was talked about a specific injury that I don't know if everybody knew about and where he was in the rehab with that. What did you make about Giddey and that development today?
Yeah, you always love it when you have to Google the name of a ligament during
Right.
media day. I love that
Never-
feeling.
never heard of that.
Also did
yeah, yeah. No, long story short, it does feel like this will be fairly quick, except that we've said that about how many Bulls injuries over the years, and that's
Yes.
not always true.
All of them.
Obviously, I think there was kind of that pit in the stomach moment just seeing Josh go down with any type of injury in that game. That was, not what anyone wants to really see for any player. So I am curious. I think the biggest issue here is just the chemistry part of it. Like, I don't know how you feel about that, Will, but just him not being able to work back in with new teammates is just another factor of what we can kind of expect in terms of maybe the chemistry and how it's going to look in the opening
Yeah, I
weeks.
mean, it was surprising to hear. I mean, he just came out and said it too. It's typically not how it goes. It's usually like we hear through PR. There's the party line about how they're supposed to talk about it, what words they're supposed to use, and
Yep.
he just came out and said it. So it was surprising. He did, and I was gonna follow up if you didn't, because you asked a great question about okay, are you gonna be ready? Like, what's the
Right.
prognosis here? And he said that if basically he ruptured his ATFL during the last play of that Serbia game. It's a
Aquatine
ligament
Hunger
in the
Force?
back of your Achilles or ankle. And, he thought it was just a bad ankle sprain. He went back to Melbourne and got some scans on it. Turned out it was ruptured. And he's been rehabbing since then. He said that if it were a playoff game, he would probably be there. But since they have time, it is still training camp. They want to be conservative with it. And I think that's the right approach. But he did say he expects to be ready by opening night. But I think that's a great question for you, Will, is how difficult is it for a player who misses training camp to come in and get to assimilate and to be a part of the team when you are such a fundamental piece of how the offense is going to run and nobody's had a chance to play with you?
I think it depends on the individual. And I'm going to step out here and just say, I think for this guy, just from what I've seen when I've watched him play at OKC, but also even just listen to how he answers the questions, I think it's going to be seamless.
Yeah.
Quite honestly. I walked away thinking that this guy gets it. He sees the game differently. I almost think of the way he kind of answered some of the questions. I think he almost is on the verge of like a basketball savant, quite honestly. And I'd be interested to see what you guys thought, because you kind of get used to some canned answers and what guys have to say, but the depth at which he goes to when he answers questions about the game, I think he's one of those guys that just well, I always talk about, to see guys go to the next level, it's about IQ, right? Understanding how to play. I think he already understands how to play the game. He's almost opposite of most guys. I think what you can see from him is he can obviously get stronger. He can get quicker, his lateral movement. He even addressed about not wanting to be the weak link on defense. It's very rare that you see a guy that will stand up and say, hey, when you looked at that OKC team and teams wanted to attack us, I didn't want to be that guy, but they're probably going to attack me. So I want to see, okay, if that's the case, then you're coming to a team that doesn't really have a defensive identity. So how do you then step up and possibly make that improvement, but also be a leader? But I thought that was like a breath of fresh air. I could sit here and listen to him talk about basketball all day. And I'm curious about the two of you guys is, outside of that intelligence aspect, because as you watch him play, I also was curious what you thought about how he addressed the turnover issue about, you can't be afraid to make that pass, playing with doubt or regret. So I'm curious if you guys picked up anything on how he's going to address that, because I also love the fact he said he went back and watched all the games in the Olympics to try to pick up some things that he needed to work on leading up to this season.
Yeah, what were your just initial impressions of him as a person and covering him and how you think he fits in?
Yeah, I've been kind of to what you were saying. Well, I've been really struck by the way that he talks about the game since we just had that introductory Zoom, which like a Zoom is a really hard way to try to get to understand a player. But similar to what you were saying, the way he talked about passing today and understanding that really like careful balance between risk taking and caution and what that means as a passer was very interesting. That's the kind of just talker that you like to have in a locker room. Alex Caruso was kind of similar to that, just in terms of being able to talk through the game. And especially for someone that young, I think that's been something that's kind of stuck out to me. I think with this team and with how transitional this team is just in like where they are as a group, I just do worry that no matter how well how you want things to play out in your head, I just worry about like what execution looks like with this entire group. That's not just on Giddey. So yeah, I'm curious about that fit.
He just walked by here, but who's going to have a huge impact on this guy? Peter Patton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So, you think about what I think he's kind of like, quite honestly, he's kind of like the unheralded hero of this team. He just kind of does his work in the background, spends so much time with these guys. You've seen the improvement with Kobe. You've seen the improvement with Io. He's a key factor for that. And I think now when Giddey can get out on the floor and start working with Peter, what he already knows and then what Peter knows, and you put those two things together, that's going to be fun to watch.
We've got Joe Cowley here. He's hanging out too. He wants to come on and say hi. Should we shuttle him in? You want to
put Joe on right here?
Okay.
There we go. All right. Taking Uncle Will's spot, we have the one and only. They're wrestling.
Charge.
Do that in front of the camera. Fresh off a wrestling match with Uncle Will Perdue, it's the one and only grenade tosser himself, Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times.
It's like
joining us
Yeti.
on set. Oh my goodness. Cowley, what's up, buddy? How you
guys doing?
Oh, just lovely. Super happy to be here. Super excited for another fresh Bulls season, aren't you?
Oh yes,
No
the whole
sarcasm.
city's abuzz
Yeah.
as I drove in.
Yeah. So you asked a question or two to some of the people who are, as we refer to them, the Bulls brass, about the directions of this team out of the gate of these press conferences. What did you make of their answers?
Well, I mean, they have to say what they have to say. I don't know why they feel the need to, because they're going to have asses in the seats either way. So why not come out and kind of be honest and direct of, hey, we do covet keeping that top 10 pick. If they don't, I mean, if they truly don't care about that top 10 pick, then I question their leadership skills of building this thing the right way.
Same.
If they do covet it, why not just come out and say, look, this is what we have right now. And he did kind of allude to that this is changing and this moving forward, what you see at the start of training camp is, could be very different. But come out and say that there is a slight youth movement going on. And what we're trying to do is kind of walking a high wire of development while acquiring young talent, but still trying to be competitive and teaching winning moments. It doesn't mean winning games, but teaching winning moments that this group as youngsters can take forward and develop together. That's what I would have liked to hear.
So
but
I'm curious then, do you think that, like, where do you stand on how you think they actually feel about this? Like, do you think that they actually believe that and they do want to
I
try
hope
to
so.
win, or do you, I mean,
if they
what's your reading
truly
between the
if
lines
they
of it?
truly are if they truly think that they can go back to mediocrity, and if they don't get that top 10 pick, then so be it, because we've won some games, then they should just all hand in resignation letters today and save time. Because then that tells me you don't know what you're doing. You're not looking around the NBA. You're not looking at the history of the last decade and understanding team building. You need to hit a superstar. Okay. Chicago does not land superstar free agents. It just doesn't. They always pretend like they can. They can't. It's Miami or LA.
Yeah.
The sun isn't blazing here in February and January. So
it was even kind of a shock that Philly was able to pry Paul George away. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was almost like a middle finger stick it to you signing by Paul George.
Yeah.
So then how are you going to do this? Well, you have to draft smart and you have to hit on the right guy. And I don't care what anyone says. The highlights that we're seeing of Cooper Flag with Team Select against Team USA, because I saw you guys in Vegas right after that. I think we touched on it. Well, while I was in Vegas, I talked to a couple of people that were actually at the practices. They said the highlights you saw were nothing, because this kid is fearless, legit, organizational, seismic game changer. To me, you do whatever you can to buy a lottery ticket for that drawing. And whatever chance you have to get him, your chance 14.9%, even at the best case. Okay, I'll roll the dice on that, because now that changes my organization and that keeps me in that office up there. Otherwise, you start packing up boxes right now.
Yeah.
Same question to you, Julia. What's kind of your reading between the lines of where you think this team is actually heading? Like, I mean, they said it, and we talked about it before you guys got on. It's like they're not going to sacrifice winning or player development for the integrity of the game. Like, do you feel like they really buy that, or do you think that they, at a certain point, need to understand what Joe's saying?
I mean, I agree with everything that Joe says, and yet every time that I hear them say that specific phrase that you're talking about, you just kind of
go, not the first time we've heard it.
Yeah, no, and it's. I get, again, like Joe said, I get why you have to say it to a certain extent, but there are ways to shade. Like, they had all summer to kind of think through how to package this year.
Right.
And there are ways
that was like
to shade that.
That was in the like pre-written statement.
Right.
Like he wrote that the way he wanted.
That was the most purposeful thing that Arturas said today, was what he had written down on the paper in front of him. And the fact that you would not have gone through and tried to massage that into a version of, we're looking toward the future. We want to build for a better future. We want to build like a long-standing future in Chicago. There's just so many ways to package that aren't what we got today. And
you just say half of it. It's like, we just want to develop the players. You can stop there.
Exactly.
And it'd be a great answer.
Exactly. Talk about how you believe in the guys. Like, there is a lot of potential. There's a lot of room for growth on this team. And yet every time that they could just say the first half of the sentence, they add that latter clause that makes you go, like, what are we doing here? You know, it's just,
Well, Julia, Joe, we appreciate you guys joining us for a few minutes. Before we let both of you go, pick one of these questions and answer it. Who won Media Day in your opinion and why? Or who did we not hear from that you wish we did hear from today?
Julia, you go first.
Ooh, one Media Day. I'll go out on a slight limb here. Zach LaVine, I actually really respected the way that he came out and had that little introductory statement. Like, it is what it is. His situation is what it is. But I do appreciate when players are realistic and pragmatic about the media situation that they're in, and they just kind of come out, they sit down, and they own it. And I thought that for where he's at, I thought that he did a nice job with at least trying to really roadmap for us what to expect from him this season. So I appreciated that, and an otherwise kind of like just normal media day.
I would almost 100% agree. It's Zach LaVine, best defense he's played since he's been a Bull. Comes out, has a statement ready to go.
Where that was going.
Got a stance. He's like, let's go. Alex isn't here. I'll take over.
Sorry,
Oh, man.
And then who would I have liked to hear from? They hide Mark Eversley, so it's not him.
Are you a little surprised that we did not see the guy who signed a $90 million contract up at the podium today?
No, because going to be Pat just saying the same Pat stuff. Pat knows that he's in a situation where anything he says is meaningless. It's what you do now.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
no,
Julia,
I
you
didn't
feel the
either.
same way about that?
Excuses tour, as Dave
Right.
likes to call it.
I would have loved to hear from him just on what like
I
current
could tell you what he was
availability
gonna
looks
say.
like, but yeah, it's exactly
Just go
like
back
what Joe
through the old
said.
notes.
Yeah.
It's already there.
Yeah,
Maybe
we've got it in
maybe
order.
Bucellus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He seems to be, bobbing around, very high energy from place to place. I guess as kind of a wide-eyed rookie
He's got a little it
days.
factor to him, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carries himself a little dig me, a little swagger.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
which I think this team of
They need
to use your words, Callie, choir boys,
Yes.
could use some of that.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all support your local newspapers. Read Julia's great coverage of the Bulls, and also shout out to
we
you
got
for
both of the
great coverage of the
newspapers up
Chicago Sky throughout
Thank
this
you.
past Sky season.
Thank
Incredible
you.
job there, and of course, the grenades on Twitter and the great stuff written for the Chicago Sun-Times. Our guy Joe, Callie, appreciate both of you guys for spending some of your time with
should we get a
us.
quick Justin Fields take before?
He now has got the stank off of him. He's in a culture of culture.
Oh yeah.
And so, I've liked what I've seen, but I'd like to see Russ get an opportunity. I mean,
Okay.
Justin still is the backup quarterback doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
So
Have you talked to any of your Steelers people and asked them about maybe borrowing some culture and bringing it over here to the United Center, Advocate Center? We use
you
some of
guys can't be helped.
no. Okay.
Thank you guys so much.
Julia
for coming
Poe,
on.
Thank you,
Joe
guys.
Callie, everybody.
problem.
We're gonna bring our guys.
Will
Big
assaulted
Dave
me.
and
I want that
Purdue
on
back. I think at least the corner of it was caught on film, Callie. All right, let's bring in our guys, Big Dave and Will Perdue, to share a few more final thoughts from Media Day and wrap things up. Shout out to Julia and Joe, great members
Great to get some other
of the beat.
perspective on there, but it sounds like we're
Absolutely.
in agreement. I mean, I had this exact same take about Zach.
Yeah.
The way that he handled his situation. Yeah, I think we're all kind of seeing eye to eye here.
So now that he's walking away, wait, who started that fight, Purdue? Was that you? Or we all know that Callie loves to wrestle, but
Hey, it doesn't matter who started it. I just need to know what you're going to say to the judge.
I didn't see nothing. That's what I'm going to say.
I was standing right there and I saw nothing. Emma didn't see nothing either. He saw nothing.
We were just talking about not hearing from Patrick today, despite the fact that he signed a big contract over the offseason. Dave, I saw you just gave him a quick tap, said what's up to him real quick. Anything to report in the world of Patrick Williams?
He's doing great.
Doing great.
He's in good spirits. He's ready to play.
Ready to play. That was something that I think Bulls fans were wanting to see or hear clarity on.
Yeah.
That we weren't sure of, because we got that update from Darnell in one of his latest columns at the end of the offseason. Pat suffered a setback when they were doing the unofficial team minicamp down in Miami, and a bunch of us went, I'm sorry, what? So I guess there is another silver lining to today's news.
I asked AK directly, is Pat 100% healthy and is he ready to go? And he did not say whether he was 100% healthy. He kind of avoided saying that. So I don't think we can assume that he's 100% healthy, but it sounds like he's ready to go.
Yes.
I mean, he did say Pat is ready to go. He's
Yes,
going to
he
be
did.
in 5-on-5s. He's doing the drills.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be kind of monitoring it. But from everybody else I've talked to, around the team, it seems like he actually is okay. I
Yeah.
don't really know what the setback was, but I also don't know that we can confidently say he's 100% right now.
Sure. Everything, I guess, will be found out tomorrow, when training camp kicks off.
And we'll be asking every day.
He'll be
Absolutely.
there.
Well, so
Every single day.
Purdue, what about you? I mean, Cowley kind of just said, no, I don't necessarily wish we would have heard from Patrick Williams today at the podium, because at this point in Pat's career, it's even with that contract, it's not about saying anything. It's about going out there on the court and showing it every night.
Yeah, I didn't need to hear from him.
Okay.
I think listen, the one thing I know about Patrick, he knows what's expected of him now.
Yeah.
I just hope that he understands now that in my eyes, there are no more excuses now. I think we can all agree, and if you don't, please speak up, that, and this is not the fault of DeMar.
Mm-hmm.
DeMar is who he is. He's going to be a Hall of Famer because of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just some players that don't mesh well.
Yeah.
And those two guys didn't mesh well. I've always said that, and I continue to say this, in the times that I've interacted with Patrick Williams, I always talk about that I hope my son picks up a lot of those traits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the way that he talks to people with respect, the way he treats people, he shakes your hand. I mean, his parents have done an outstanding job of raising him.
Yeah. Agreed.
But it's not about that. It's now about And I'm not even asking to, justify the contract. Okay. Because we all know he has that potential.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with the contract at all. Because I know for a fact there were other teams that were interested. And everybody's like, well, let him go. And then there would have been a bidding war for him because of what other teams have seen.
Yeah.
But it's now a situation where, Dave, what did you just say to me? Availability is how did you put it?
The best ability is availability.
Right. 71 games, 9 games, 65 games, 30 games. So we need to see, can he, as Kobe talked about now, one of the questions that I asked Kobe was about how he played, about being able to do it every night. Okay. 5 and 7, it doesn't matter. Whatever, 3 and 4 nights, it doesn't matter. You've got to be able to do it every night.
Yeah.
Oh, you were talking about number of games and number of nights. I thought you were talking about Pat's stat line. 5 and 7, 3 and 4.
Sing
Sorry,
boom.
just lobbed that one right over the plate.
Jeez, fire.
I wish it were
if you want to
different.
talk about stat lines, 4.2 rebounds a game for career average is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Okay,
Agreed.
that's he
I'm
has.
not saying. I'm just saying.
Oh, you already said it.
Yeah.
All right. But
No, man.
he has been now given the green light.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's been said vocally,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that they have now, allowed DeMar to go elsewhere tells you not only what they think of this kid, but they need this. It's kind of like when, you're talking to your parents. Your parents want answers, right?
Yeah.
But they also talk about your actions speak louder than your words.
Yes.
Mhm.
So as you talk about, did we need to hear from Patrick? No. What I need to see from Patrick on any given night is average, and this is just in my opinion, 16 and 8.
Ooh,
Sexy.
that's asking for a big jump from anything he's done before.
No, you're exactly right. But this now is a totally different team.
Yeah.
Mhm.
With
As Go would say, there's a DeMar size hole in that
Yes.
offense.
Right. And again, please don't think that we're, talking about demeaning DeMar. We're not.
No,
No.
not at all.
No.
Not at all.
It's just he didn't fit in this team from day one, but because of who he is and how good he is, they had to play to his strengths.
Correct.
Because that's what gave them the best chance to win.
Mhm.
Okay. But now it's P. Will can't go hide in the corner. P. Will, to me, they've removed all the excuses, all the layers. So we're going to find out exactly who P. Will is
Not
because
bowling with bumpers anymore.
Mm-mm. The no
You're-
excuses tour, baby.
you're exactly. I love that.
Thank you.
No excuses tour. I
I've been
love it.
saying it for months, Will.
Well, hey,
Come on and join it.
hold on.
The concert starts.
Patents, no excuses.
It's already been trademarked, Will. You're late to the party. It's all right. We own it. We
Should we
own it.
hit on Lonzo
But
real
I
quick?
think-
Oh, sorry.
No, but I think that he now, when you look at this team,
Mhm.
which Billy has acknowledged, AK has acknowledged, when you have the ball in the hands of Giddey, Io, Kobe, and I don't even want to talk about Lonzo. And it's not that I don't. I just don't want to get emotionally hooked into that.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. I like
It's-
that. I love you too much. Don't really look at you. Just hurt my feelings.
If he can play, to me, that's like icing on the cake. But
Okay.
let's, it's like a fish in a small pond. You're just like, you're trying to get that as the guy's reeling in the lure. You're trying to
Yeah.
grab it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
At the end of the day, when was his last game?
January
14th,
2022.
22.
Okay, what's
Will
today's
has it
date?
tattooed.
September
I'll-
30th, 2024.
I'll
Shut
lay it
up.
out this way. It will have been 1,000 days since his last game before.
As Will likes to say,
Wait.
we did not exist. This company.
CHGO did not exist. I
Yeah.
went
But
up to him and
has there-
introduced myself because I was like, hey, I started like a month after you went down. I haven't-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been here for a long time, but I haven't had a chance to say hi.
But
to you all, so-
how many
Right.
players
It's
in the
crazy.
NBA have come back from his injury?
Zero.
0.
He'll be the first.
And if he can, I honestly, I hope he can.
Absolutely, I do.
But even if he can, if 10 is where he used to be,
Mhm.
where is he on that scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah.
And he acknowledged, like, I may not be the same. Like, I've probably lost some athleticism. I'm
Mhm.
probably not going to be quite the same caliber of player, but his IQ still lives on through that. His shooting, his passing ability. Like, I do think that if he's out there and he said like back-to-backs are going to be off the table, we're going to see what the minutes restriction is going to look like. We got to kind of see, as Billy and AK have said also, we got to see what he looks like. I mean, we haven't had a chance to like put him through training camp. So I think this is going to be very informative this next week here. Training camp starts tomorrow and goes through Sunday. And then we will kind of see how he's taken things. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, to expect too much from a guy who has not played in 1,000 days, I think is crazy. But I also am really excited to see him try to get back because this is so rare and because he was such a special player when he was out there.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head, a special player. But just to finish up the P. Will thing, the willingness of these guys to pass him the ball. These guys have talked about how, and most notably Kobe and Io, about how they want him to succeed. You know, they want us because they know how important he is. If he can live up to the expectations of the 7th pick, right?
Patrick?
Yeah,
fourth.
That's right. We've had the 7th pick so many times. I feel like everybody's in draft 7th.
This is why Bulls fans have been even more impatient with Pat because they still view him as that former number 4 overall pick.
But I'm also a perfect example of a player that it takes players different times to mature. Okay, and sometimes it's not just physically. He's already matured physically.
Oh, my gosh.
But it's just trying to truly figure out who you are and how you fit in. And I think when Debo was here, he always struggled to figure out how he was fitting in because you've heard Billy talk about what was the thing I took away from what's going to make things so difficult from Billy is he kept using the term, we have players that need the ball in their hands.
Yes.
He
And those guys have to make sacrifices. I always felt like P. Will sacrificed too much when he didn't need to.
Yeah. And, not only players who need the ball in their hands, but lots of guards who need the ball in their hands. I can't remember who took the picture and it was made its way around Bulls Twitter, but there was one, when they put the different groups of players together during their photo ops, and it was Kobe, Zach, Io, Giddey, and Lonzo. And it was somebody quote tweeted, it was like, damn, this team's got a lot of guards. And Billy Donovan, again, and it's one of Bulls fans' favorite collective inside jokes together. He's like, oh, did Billy mention something about playing a lot of 3-guard lineups today? Because you bet your rear end he did.
Bet your bottom dollar. He was on it, man. Yeah, like, it's a tough situation to be in. Because not only do you have a lot of guards, you have a lot of guards that can actually help your team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then that also goes back to the tightrope that Billy's on this season goat of like who's getting how many minutes, and like say Lonzo is healthy and can play. Should you prioritize playing him over say Io DeSumo, who has a gigantic opportunity for another developmental step after a very strong 3rd season? And how does Billy weigh those things? I'm glad I'm not him.
Yeah, I mean that's a challenge that I think that once we start getting into some of these preseason games and obviously the start of the season, that's when we're going to really find out what this team is about. We can sit here and come to conclusions, read between the lines, figure out what we need to figure out about what they're saying. But as Dave likes to say, saying ain't like doing. So we got to see what's out there, who's playing, how they're playing, how many minutes, what rotations are we looking at before we can really determine, okay, is this team serious about what they're saying that they want to win every game, or are they serious about what they're saying about developing their young talent? Because again, I just think it's gonna be hard to do both.
Yeah, I can't wait for tomorrow, man. Can't wait.
We got to wrap up so we can start breaking this down and get out of here. Huge thank you and shout out to everybody at Bulls and Bulls PR, Beth, Josh, Andre, everybody who let us stay up. Everybody else is broken down, but we are still here, and we went live today because we wanted to give y'all our immediate reactions to what we just saw here at the Advocate Center. So again, thank you for the hospitality, Bulls and Bulls PR. We appreciate y'all. Shout out again, of course, to the newest member of our crew at CHGO Bulls. In case you missed the news at the tail end of last week, we got Uncle Will Perdue with us. Going to be rocking with us all season long. Lots of pre and post game back at our CHGO headquarters. He is not replacing the GOAT.
He looked kind of stern when he stuck that
He
thumb in your
You saw that too. You saw that too. He meant that.
Replacing me.
Meant that
Standing my ground.
That's right. You can find Uncle Will on Twitter, Will_Perdue32. The other Will the Go Gottlieb, perfectly coiffed, Will_Gottlieb for all of his Bulls thoughts. And can't wait to read your thoughts. ALLCITY.com on Bulls Media Day today.
Can I read 2 things real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Come on, Will.
So I always, as a parent, you always want your child to be proud of you too.
Sure.
So that's why I always ask Matt, what's the link? So I send it to my son. So he can watch. He said, Tuned in while I was walking to class. He's a junior at Miami of Ohio.
Shout out
Flex.
Ron Harper's alma mater.
Yeah.
Both my parents.
He said, "You like being Uncle Will now?"
You can have that role and still be a great dad.
That's it.
No, I'm doing. I love it. The fact that he's actually watching.
I love that.
And I love the little, the flex. He's going to class.
Hey,
Shout out to him.
letting you know that those dollars are being well spent.
Miami of Ohio is not cheap.
And I love to also acknowledge my extended family. My wife comes from a big family.
Okay.
So my brother-in-law Kevin is actually a huge Coors Light fan.
Oh, what's up,
Oh,
Kev?
Kev, what up,
We
what
have
up?
a
Part of the
beverage
family.
cooler downstairs in my little TV room that's is specifically for him.
Oh,
There
And
you
it's full of
go.
Coors
Okay.
Light.
All right.
And everyone in the household is okay with that existing where it does.
Oh, he walks in and he just says, "Hey," down the steps. Comes all of a sudden you hear comes back up the steps. And
First things first, I'll be back to make my greetings.
Colorado Rockies.
I will tell a quick story.
Okay.
When we go out of town periodically, Kev comes and checks our mail. You know how I know he's been to get our mail besides the fact that the mail's sitting on the counter?
Because the inventory of
Empty
your
Coors
beer
Light
has
cans.
shrunk.
I open the drawer and look in the recycle bin and see a couple empty Coors
There
Light
you
cans.
go.
He's been here. All right.
You
We're
know,
good.
when you're getting the mail, when you're house sitting, you can get really thirsty doing all that hard work.
he embracing chill. That's it. He's
That's right.
embracing a chill mindset.
That's right. Shout out to Brims in the comments who said CHGO makes sports in this town better. Hey, that's
Thank
our
you, man.
goal. That is
Appreciate
our
that.
primary goal, is to keep y'all not only informed of what's going on at big events like Bulls Media Day, but also entertained.
Absolutely.
And we might have
and-
to do a road show in Oxford, Ohio. We're getting big there.
Hey. There you go.
Shout out.
We'll be back tomorrow, back home at our CHGO headquarters just down the road here, Madison Avenue.
Yes.
Same time, same place as usual. I believe it'll be actually we might be shifting to 5:30. We shifting to 5:30? I can check
Yes,
that
we
real
are.
quick. We
You
are.
shift in there?
As we get
Okay.
closer to the start of the season, our pods throughout the rest of this week, obviously today's special time because Media Day, we will be moving to 5:30 Central Time as our start time. So we'll talk to you 5:30 tomorrow.
All right.
A big day about BWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. Shout out and thanks. Huge thanks to our guy Law on the draw for rocking our production today. A big, heavy load that he carried
Don't
to do
that
these remote
again.
shows. And of course, also one more shout out to our wonderful social coordinator, Emma,
Yes.
who was out there creating great content, video, pictures, a lot of stuff you saw coming out from our team account today. That was all of her hard work.
Slay.
Yes, and our youth community outreach. So for Uncle Will Perdue, Will Go Gottlieb, Big Dave, Law, Emma, and myself, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit the like button on your way out if you're catching this on YouTube or catching the replay. Make sure you subscribe to CHGO Sports on any preferred podcast platform, and especially that CHGO YouTube channel. We will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great Monday night. See you, Be good.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.